All right. So lying on the mat in Shavasana, corpse pose, we close the eyes as soon as you're ready to settle in. A nice big gap between the ankles, arms by the side of the body, palms facing upwards. And let's gently nod the chin in towards the chest so we lengthen the back of the neck, and then find some softness, heaviness through the body. So we can take a few rounds of breath before we start to reduce the chatter in our minds. We start to relax all the muscles, head to toe. So just enjoy this lovely alignment for the body. Feel where the back of the pelvis is softly resting on the mat and the back of the head in the same plane. Just visualize the curves of the spine and feel as you breathe out that softening, more shallow curves along the spine as tension leaves the body. Checking in with the usual culprits of the shoulders, the jaw, the abdomen, thighs, glutes. Anywhere that's resisting relaxing, just try to breathe into that space, focus, and then breathing and relaxing, letting it all go. Just following the journey of the breath for one more round, and then we'll start to deepen the breath. You can keep your eyes closed, I'll verbally cue. If we breathe now into the belly, feel the belly balloon out. You can place your hands on the belly to feel that lift and rounding of the belly. Hold the breath, and then breathe out, let the abdomen fall. Soften. Again, breathe into the belly, feel the belly ballooning, and now breathe up into the ribs. Feel that 3D expansion of the ribs. So the abdomen softens slightly, hold that tension, that deeper in-breath into the ribs, hold. And then soften the ribs and soften the abdomen. 3-part breath. Breathe into the belly, up into the ribs, and this time all the way up into the chest. Feel the shoulders pressing into the mat. Almost feel the breath being drawn up to the crown of the head. Hold, and then soften and release the breath all the way down. Still keeping the eyes closed, we can take the arms overhead into a full body stretch. Spread the toes, spread the fingers. Find spaces in the body by reaching through one heel and the opposite hand, and then the same hand. Just explore the stretch. And we're getting ready for half Apanasana. So when you're ready, lower the arms, draw the right knee into the chest, and let's hold behind the knee. So drawing the knee in, the left leg is straight, the left heel pressing into the floor. And let's circle that right ankle. So nice, controlled, mindful circles, no forcing, in one direction, and then changing the direction. The chin still tucked in towards the neck, so no creases at the back of the neck. And let's move on to the hip, holding on to that lifted right knee. Take the knee slightly across the body. So we're trying to find some space in the outer hip. And then out, hip opening, right knee down to the floor on the right. Gently adding a tiny bit of weight with the hand on the inside of the knee. Relaxing the shoulders and the jaw, gently rocking if that feels nice. When you're ready, the knee back into the chest, one big pull in towards the chest, thigh, then chest come together, the left leg really active, and then release your right leg, arms overhead. This time really spread the fingers and spread the toes. A deep breath in here, we can arch the spine. And as you breathe out, it's the left knee coming in towards the chest, hold behind the knee. So this just helps to reduce the flexion of the knee, and it just takes a little bit of strain off the knee. We're concentrating on the thigh coming into the chest without straining the knee. Your right leg is now straight and the heel is pressed into the floor. So we're active through that leg and almost feel like the pressure of the right leg into the floor is giving you more leverage to draw the left knee into the chest. Chin still tucked, shoulders back and down, and let's circle the left ankle. Just a few in each direction. If it feels a bit clunky, just ease off the circle. It doesn't need to be your widest range of movement. We're in both directions with those circles, and then we're taking it into the hip. So holding the knee, guiding the knee across towards the right shoulder. You can give the left hip a little bit of a rub. And then hip opening, left knee opens out towards the floor on the left. You can keep your right hand on the right hip. So we're really getting a stretch in the inner thigh. Breathing deeply in and out of the nose. Last breath here, and then knee back into the chest for one more big pull in, wind relieving posture. Half Apanasana. And we'll take it to full Apanasana. Now draw both knees into the chest. Have a little rock on the spine. We're going to come into a banana stretch. It's a stretch for the side of the body, but we're going to try and focus on breathing some space into the hips. So let's place the feet on the floor. Press into the feet to lift the hips and adjust the hips across to the left. And now we're extending the legs towards the right. Taking hold of the left hand and drawing it up and over, and we're finding a stretch in the left side of the body. Breathing deeply in and out of the nose, and now try and find heaviness in the body. Naturally, the left hip that we're stretching will want to lift from the floor. So without straining your back, try to feel everything melting into the floor and maximum contact with the floor. Breathing some space into that left hip. Or if you're on a different leg, don't worry, we'll be doing the other side. So the straightened, stretched side, breathe into the hip. One more breath here, and then we'll release, come in center, rebend the knees back as if we were going to take a bridge. Press into the feet to lift the hips over to the right. And then we're drawing the legs into a straight line towards the left, holding the right wrist. And drawing the upper body over to the left too. Now, if you want a deeper stretch, the right foot ankle can cross over the left ankle, but let's try and keep the right hip down and breathe into the outer hip, aiming to keep the shoulders down and calming the breath in and out of the nose. So again, focusing on that outer hip, think how rarely we breathe space into the outer hip. Later on, we'll be taking a counter, finding space in the inner thigh. Great. Last breath, release. Take the legs center and slowly take the knees into the chest. A little rock on the spine, and then we're going to be coming up to sitting. So you can sit on a block, or you can sit cross-legged, whatever feels more comfortable for you. So, from a nice upright position, let's first of all lengthen through the spine, up through the crown of the head, chin tucked, shoulders back and down. We're going to start with breath of fire, just so we fire up the core. So let's place one hand on the belly, one on the heart. And it's a forced out breath, so you feel the belly contract. The in-breath, there's no effort at all. We'll naturally draw in air after that exhalation. So we're going to do for 2 sets of 10. So breathe in to prepare. And pulse out. Take a deep breath in, and again for 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Take a deep breath in and release the hands. Now we're going to take a side to side, so warming up the spine, but with the same breath of fire. So let's link the fingers. We're going to breathe into the right and then breathe out with a breath of fire to the left. So it's 10, 9, and 8, 7. Breathe in, out, in, out, in, out, in, out, in, out, in, out. One more. Pause, stay in the twist. Right hand to left knee. Right, left hand fingers behind and sit up tall for a twist. We turn the head, neck, shoulders, ribs all the way around, maybe even looking over the shoulder. Now try and ground the knees down, hips down. The arm that's behind, reach for the wall that's behind. Then reach up to the ceiling, like we're drawing a big arc. And we're coming into a side bend. So we keep hold of that opposite knee and then take a side bend. So enjoy the stretch from the side of the body, reaching into the fingertips, and we can turn the head so that we're looking down at that right thigh. Melt the shoulders down, find length in the side of the neck. Breathing in deeply into the fingertips. Now, keep your hand on the knee, but we're finding the other knee with our lifted hand. See the knees are lifted. Take a deep breath in here, sitting up tall. As you breathe out, chin to chest, lower the knees, stretch the shoulder blades apart behind the head. Empty the lungs. Twice more, breathing in, drawing the knees up, lengthening through the spine. And breath out. Use the hands on the knees to give you that stretch for the back of the body, dropping the head, empty the lungs, front ribs together, navel to spine. And last time, breathing in, stretching up, find length in the spine, the neck. And then breathing out, feel that work into the scapula, head released. Now stay in this forward fold and take the head side to side and just explore anything interesting for the back of the neck, the shoulders. And then keeping this cross in the arms, sitting up tall, come to eagle arms. So either the backs of the hands come together or maybe we can clamp palms together. Sitting up tall, take a deep breath in and then we lift the elbows in front of the face. Think about the heart lifting up to the ceiling. And stretch, upper back bend. See if you can keep some tone in your abs. And then lower the arms, elbows in towards the belly and lengthen the neck twice more. Elbows lift, so still working into the muscles around the shoulder blades. And then that upper back bends that we're working against any poor posture. Feeling that lift in the chest to the ceiling. And then we're releasing the arms, fingertips behind our counter, puff out the chest and semicircle the head back. Puffing out the chest, feeling that opening across the shoulders. And then we'll go again. So while you're just having a little bit of a modified inclined plane there, we'll be gripping the hands, it's breathing into the left and a sharp breath of fire, exhalation to the right. Okay, so when you're ready, holding, find your bind. Take a breath in and out. Pause, find your twist, left hand to right knee, right hand behind you for support. Lower the knees, lengthen the spine, chin tucked. Shoulders down, start to turn the head without forcing. Start to feel that swivel in the shoulders, the ribs turning around. And we're aiming to look towards the back wall, feeling that twist up the spine, keeping the top of the head to the ceiling. Now, ground down through the knees, span through the legs. Your right arm, reach the wall behind you. If you can, follow with your gaze all the way up to the ceiling. Ready for that side bend. Keep following through all the way into a side bend, lateral flexion of the spine, reaching into the fingertips. We can use some strength in the knee to draw the lower arm down, and we can turn the head so that we're now looking down at the left thigh. Now find some comfortable position for the neck. If it's a strain to look down, move the head. Experiment, feel where it will feel comfortable and then work on that length up the side of the body. Feel the ribs on this side, lifting out of the pelvis. Feel the ribs spreading apart. Deep breath in here and then we'll find the knee, find the opposite knee. Breathe in, lifting the knees, Shrug out the shoulders in the same sequence. As you breathe out, knees widen apart, shoulder blades come apart. We bow the head down, navel to spine. A little bit of a shimmy side to side. And then as we breathe in, we're supporting the knees, so no pulling, almost creating some resistance there between the hands and the knees so we can move smoothly with control, no forcing. We're rounding the back here, flexing, navel to spine, front ribs close, dropping the head, a release with the back of the neck. And last time, we breathe in, lifting the knees, rebuild the spine as long as it can go. And then the breath out, knees towards the floor, feel the shoulder blades separate. So in this last one, we're taking a little bit of a sway, just finding a little bit more work up into the neck. And then keeping hold of the knees, keeping the arms in that position, come to eagle arms, Garudasana arms. So either the backs of the hands together or the palms find each other. 3 rounds. So let's make sure we're sitting up really tall on the sit bones. Try and spread the weight between the 2 sit bones. And now this time let's add on and think about the pelvic floor. Can you feel that tiny bit higher, longer through the spine as we feel that lift in the pelvic floor, navel to spine. And when you're ready, taking the elbows towards the nose, maybe looking up at the ceiling, puffing out the chest without leaning back. Think about an upper back bend only, and then relieving back to our starting position. We can take the head into any position you wish. This is working into the shoulder blades, into the shoulder joints. Here we're creating space here in an otherwise rather cramped joint. No forcing here. And don't worry about the hands. It's this link of the elbows that gives us the leverage to lift the elbows in front of the face. Great. Last of all, our counter. Let's roll the shoulders back and down. Fingertips behind you. Puff the chest out. And let's ease out the neck. Brilliant. So keep breathing in to chest forwards, soften the jaw. Okay, we're going to come on to all fours. I'm going to mirror you, so this is our right leg. Come on to all fours. Later on when we're doing sun salutations, you can do this sequence on all fours or down dog. So see this as a warm up or just a trial for you. We're going to start with the right leg, a hip circle in each direction, then an extension towards the elbow, extend, knee, extend, opposite elbow. Okay, so let's do that together. Make sure your shoulders are over the wrists, lengthen the neck. Now, if you can keep your gaze at the floor, though, of course, do glance up if you feel you need to. We're starting with the right leg. Lift the bent knee and the foot towards your bottom. Then drawing a big arc with the knee out to the side, around, across the body and back to the starting point. And then the other way. Knee comes forwards, across the body, all the way out, draws a big arc all the way. And this time we're extending the leg. Let's breathe into that long line into the heel, the breath out, the knee comes towards the same elbow. We're aiming to keep the upper body exactly where it is. Very tempting to sway forwards and backwards. We're breathing into that extended line, the breath out, navel to spine. Feel that engagement in the core, rounding, nose towards knee. Deep breath in to extend, and last in this sequence across to the opposite elbow, a little twist for the spine. Empty the lungs, knee to the floor, other side. We start with a hip circle, lift the back knee, draw a big arc, leading with the knee all the way around and to the starting position, and then back the other way. Lower the knee a little bit across the body, just exploring that hip joint. And then we're coming to that extended position. Deep breath in, and as you breathe out, knee comes forwards towards the triceps, emptying the lungs. Breathe in and extend. We're going for the nose. Breathing out. empty. Last time, cross to the opposite elbow. Take that twist. And then release down. Tuck your toes and let's just circle out those wrists. Any niggles there, give a little bit of nurture to your wrist, get your thumb into the flesh of the palm. And breathe. Other wrist. So I said that we'd open the outer hip before. Now we're going to think about the inner thigh. We won't go for a full 2-minute yin stretch, but it's a nice one for promoting a bit more flexibility. So we're going to sit on the heels. So I've released my feet, lean across to the left and extend the right leg out to the side. And depending on your flexibility, you might sit on the outside of your heel on this left. If you're a bit more flexible, we glide over and we sit on the heel. So hopefully you're already getting some inner thigh stretch without forcing. So the feet, the little toes have lifted and we're just getting the stretch on the outside, on the inside of the leg. And we're going to come into a fold. So maybe we creep the hands forwards, maybe you come onto the forearms, maybe you stack fists. So let's just find where we can settle for 5 breaths. We're resting on the knife edge of the big toe, the arch of the foot, little toe up to the ceiling. So we've still got the hip, knee, ankle in aligned, so no strain for the knee. And we're breathing deeply in and out of the nose, 5 breaths. See if you can find softening, or if there's somewhere in the body where you're clenching, you don't feel secure, make those adjustments in where we're sitting. We can sit all the way in. We can take that extended leg forward slightly. So play around and then just find heaviness. We've got maybe another 2 breaths here in this position. At the end of the next exhalation, head last to come up, rebuild the spine, place the hands back and come back to our kneeling position. Just have a little rock sitting on the heels and then we take it to the other side. Maybe different on the other side, so try to go easy into it. Start by leaning away so you can control how much of a stretch you're putting on the inner thigh. And then you can glide the foot away. Play around with it, maybe sitting on one side of the heel will be more comfortable. So just finding, above all, no strain in this knee. So if you've got any knee niggles, keep the ankle, knee and hip in a line by sitting on the ankle. Okay, we've lifted the sole of the foot. We're on the arch side of the foot. And we can find our way into a forward fold. And it'll be 5 breaths, but we're finding some release, softening. So no forcing. No actively turning the foot up, just feeling where it's most supported. Hope you've now settled into wherever you can get to, where you can relax. So notice if the jaw or the throat or the glutes are somewhere where you tend to hold some stress. Try to breathe into that space, relax, start to think about all the muscle fibers lining up and becoming lovely and supple and released. One more really nice deep breath in here. Finding space in that inner thigh. And then head last to come up. Rolling up through the spine, gently guide the knee back in and have a little rock. We're going to take the legs out in front of us just to ease out. The knees have been bent, so have a little rock side to side. We've got one last one here before we come up into sun salutations. We're going to take a child pose. I just feel the top of the head. We're not going to do headstand, so there's no worry there. Draw the knees in, and from a child pose, I'd like you to let the forehead rest towards the floor. If you can't sit this far back, you can tuck the toes and sit a little bit higher, and let the head rest on the floor. Now we can place the hands, the forearms on the floor, and we're just as if feeling the topography of the head. So I'm putting more weight in my forearms rather than the top of my head, and just feeling as though you're massaging the top of your head without placing any weight into it at all. Only if you are a headstander person, you can work on lifting the hips and just feeling some lift through the feet. But this is really just about feeling the muscles, a little bit of a massage for the scalp. We're going to tuck the toes and take our first down dog of the day. So place the hands on the floor with the toes tucked. Send the hips back in space and we'll pedal through. How much movement can you get through the toes? So it's a slow motion pedaling through, one heel towards the floor, one knee very bent, a big bend in the toes. So feeling that transference of weight from one foot to the other. And then with both knees bent, crouching low, look for space and length in the spine. Feel the shoulder blades come apart slightly so that your front ribs can come together. Navel to spine, pelvic floor lifting. And we're going to walk the hands and the feet together and meet in a ragdoll fold. Let's circle out those wrists again, give them a bit of a massage if they need. Feel down to the forearm muscles. See if there's any tightness there that could do with being relieved. Have a little sway around your feet. And the head will be last to come up as we rebuild the spine. So soften the knees, building blocks along the spine, coming up, and at the top, rolling your shoulders back and down. Take a moment to clasp the hands behind the back, open across the chest, turn the head to the left, center, and to the right. All right, with soft knees, shrug out, arms, knees, soften. It's a warm day, so sun salutations. I encourage you, please take a child pose at any point and have some water if you need. I'm going to turn the mat and I'll mirror you. That's probably, let's see. All right, so don't worry if you lose my head as we come up to standing. So let's come to the front of your space, feet hip distance apart. Slightly tilt the pelvis so we find length in the tailbone. Draw the front ribs together. Feel the hip points come together so we have that tone in the lower abs. Now maintain that pull in the front of the body and open the chest. See how much stronger that work is into the upper abdominals. So with the feet pointing forwards, firm through the thighs. Let's take a deep breath in, open the arms, reach overhead and stretch. And as you breathe out, coming into our fold, find the ankles and bow the head. Let's concentrate on the backs of the legs. Take the knees off lock, so a little bit of a bend. And now think about the sit bones. Try to lift the sit bones up the wall behind you without forcing. Breathing deeply. Feel the heaviness coming into the head, spreading the weight over the feet. See if you can get as much weight into the heels as the big toes and little toes. Take a halfway lift, so fingertips can be on the floor and we're finding length along the spine. We're going to be stepping the right foot back to a square knee lunge. So bend the knees so the hands can find the floor. Step back with the right leg, lower the knee, release the toes, and take a lift in the upper body. So we have the front knee over the ankle. We're very much square. So not the lizard lunge for this one. That will be the second round. So let's first of all take crescent arms, lifting the hands. Palms are facing each other. Shoulders back and down. And take a moment to open across the chest. But try and maintain that strength between the ribs and at the navel. Breathing deeply, find length in the lower spine. So feel the tailbone as if trying to point down towards the back of your knee rather than the wall behind. Breathing length into the front of this right leg. Now, press down through the right shin and the left heel. Press down and away. Feel how strongly we're working into the legs. Fingertips to the ceiling, shoulders back and down, chest open, ribs together, navel to spine, and pressing down and away. Now finding the opposite, press down through the back shin, down through the right foot, and as if draw together, that scissoring together of the thighs, working the legs, strength in a different way. Keep that strength, breathe in here, and as you breathe out, we're turning over to the left and opening the arms wide. Keep that scissoring between the thighs. That's our strength for mobility, for our stability there. Breathe into our crescent arms. Re-engage if we've let go, and breathing out into the twist. If there's any strain on your knee on the floor, double up your mat or get a blanket just to cushion and pad out around the knee. Last time, deep breath in here, shoulders back and down. Re-engage, scissor the inner thighs towards each other, and last time into a twist. And then cartwheel the hands down so that we frame that front foot. Knee lunge, knee plank or high plank. Tuck your toes under at the back and step back to a plank. So I'd like you to work more on a rounded plank, so we're not collapsing down. Think about rounding the back slightly so that the spine lifts up to the ceiling and the shoulder blades part slightly. Now firm up the legs, the glutes. Back to those front ribs, lifting away from the floor. The tummy lifting away from the floor. And then lower the knees if they're not lifted. Release your toes and come forwards onto your belly. Keep the hands where they are. Look down at your chest. Elbows into the waist. Squeeze the legs together and press into the hands. A small baby cobra. Chest is forward and lifted. Shoulders back and down. Pubic bone pressed into the floor, legs zipped together. Brilliant. Tuck your toes, we're meeting a down dog. And take a moment to let the breathing settle and feel the shape. So feel that length in the spine, in the backs of the legs. And we're ready to step the right foot forward. So lift the heels, bend the knees, look where you want to step the right foot to. Help it along if it needs. And let's take the right foot to the front. So we're going to run a lunge here. See if even briefly you can straighten that left leg. And just breathe some length into the front of the thigh. And we're coming to the front of the mat. So we can add a little bit of momentum here. Rocking gently forwards and backwards. And when we're ready, try to land as light as a feather. It's the intention that's important. So coming into your forward fold, nose on the knees. Let's open the arms wide. Reverse swan dive the arms up. Reach up and overhead. Take a deep breath in here. Palms meet. Breathe out, heart center. Same to the left side. Standing rooted down. Take a deep breath in. Lift the arms. Breathe into the hands meet. Breathe out into your forward fold. Run the hands down the backs of the legs, so you've got a chance to give the hands, the calf muscles a little squeeze on the way. Shake out the head. Pause. Think where your sit bones are pointing. Maybe by softening the knees, we can get the chest a little bit closer to the thighs and feel the sit bones rising up the wall behind. Knee lunge. So when you're ready, find the floor. You're stepping the left foot back, lowering the left knee, releasing the left toes. Let's find these square, all these right angles. Hands can start on the hips. Now, we'll lift the arms up to crescent if you've got the balance. Let's press down through the left shin and the right foot. Press down and away. So feel that gives you that extra lift through the ribs up into the fingertips. Slight tailbone tuck, and let's breathe into the front of the thigh. Drawing the ribs together, navel to spine, but chest open wide. You can open the arms a little bit wider if that feels more comfortable. Okay, next, we press down through the front foot, down through the back shin, Press down and together. Let's feel that scissoring, that action. You can really feel your thigh muscles tone here. Bringing together. Breathe deeply. We're ready for our twist. So breathe in here, breathing out. Keep that scissoring of the thighs and slowly exhale and turn to the right. Reaching the front for the front and the back wall. Bringing out the waist. And then we come back to the starting point. Breathe in here, reconnect through the legs, and the breath out into our final twist. Shoulders down, neck long, so we can still keep the chin nodded into the chest. Feel like bringing that work into the waist. Last time. Taking a deep breath in here, slight pelvic tilt. We should be getting a bit of a hip flexor stretch here. Last time, into the twist. How long can you be? By pressing into the foot, into the shin, we can find more length in the spine. And then let's cartwheel the hands down to frame the front foot. Remember, child pose is there for a reason. Always there for us. We'll step back. It's either a knee plank or we tuck the toes and lift the knees. But let's repel the floor. Press the hands into the floor. Press the balls of the feet into the floor. Squeeze the glutes, lengthen the thighs, and find that slight rounding in the back so we can draw the ribs together. Imagine there's a tea light just underneath you and you want to pull your belly away from it. Let's come down to the mat, into that baby cobra. Elbows bending into the waist. Brushing the waist on the way down. Let's again zip the legs together. Squeeze the glutes, pubic bone into the floor. Nod your chin into the chest. Shoulders down, elbows in. Now press into the floor and try and draw your chest forward, your shoulders back, but squeeze the glutes, squeeze the legs together, pubic bone into the floor, and then meet in a down dog. Remember, this is a good time to take a child pose if you need it. So whether you're in child pose, extended child pose, or in down dog, start to steady the breath. And when you're ready, we're going to make our way to the front of the mat. Lift the heels high, bend the knees, and we're taking the left foot to the front. Pause in that runner lunge. If you can, even briefly straighten the knee of that back leg. And then we start to find that rocking. So I like to bend both knees and start to think about your hips lifting up to the ceiling, your navel in to give you that space to lightly lift and place the right foot to the front. And we reverse swan dive, open the arms wide, reach overhead, take a deep breath in, keep breathing until the palms meet, and then breathe out to heart center. Brilliant. Next round, come to the front, take a moment. Breathe in, open the arms wide, stretch overhead. Breathe out, come to your fold. Try to feel the tops of the shoulder blades come together, then the mid-shoulder blades, and then the base all the way down into your forward fold. Just feel the crown of the head bowing down to the earth, sit bones riding up the wall behind. Try and reduce any muscular effort going on here. As long as the knees are not locked, we can just allow our upper body weight to draw us forwards. Great for our hair, the brain, everything, that inversion, the rush of blood to our face, to the head. Take a halfway lift here, fingertips to the floor, look forwards and lengthen the spine. Bend the knees enough that you can step your right foot far back, lower the knees. This time we're going beyond a 90-degree angle. We're going to allow the hips to melt forwards and down. So it's a little bit more working towards a lizard lunge. But we've got some weight into the fists or hands so that we're not overdoing it. And we're going to drape ourselves over that front knee and try to breathe into wherever feels tight. So we reduce the intensity by backing away from this. Some more weight into the fist, and sometimes a fist is more comfortable just to give the wrists a break from that flexion. If you start to feel softening in the hips, you can think about drawing your pelvis down and forwards to get more length in the front of that right hip, but no forcing. We're here for 2 more breaths, and then we're going to take Ardha Hanuman Asana, so half splits. And that will look like this. We'll lift the hips, send the hips up and back in space, and we'll straighten that front leg. Now, we're all different degrees of flexibility and what's even possible to us because of our anatomy. But if you need more of a stretch, you let the heel come forwards. Otherwise, we're just finding where we can balance ourselves over a straightened left leg. Try to avoid locking out the knee. So you can hold the back of the knee if you have your balance. And we're going to take 5 breaths here, softening. So no force. Just try to go back to following the journey of the breath in and out of the nose. Notice where you need a little bit more support. Maybe we need a bigger bend in the knee. Maybe we need to come upright, blocks, the wall even, where we can just find some length without forcing. We only add on this forward fold if the leg's ready for it, and it feels like there's scope there. Last breath here, and then we'll help this front left knee into a bend till the foot comes flat to the floor. Hands on the floor, tuck your toes or take a plank. So your version to come down to the mat, maybe knees first, otherwise onto the toes and lowering. And this time, either the baby cobra that we've been doing for our back extension or coming up to a deeper back bend. But make sure you're engaging the glutes, tilting the tailbone down so that we're not overstraining the lower back. You can always lift the hips to reduce and to back off. We're ready for a down dog. Tuck the toes. It's down dog or extended child pose here. You choose, and let's meet in that position, that asana of your choice, and go back to following the breath. So whether you're in down dog or extended child pose, let's find some length in the spine. As you breathe in, feel like you're breathing into the space behind your heart. Feel the sit bones riding up the wall behind, if you're in down dog. And we're ready to close this side of sun salutations. So knees can come to the floor so that we can help the right foot to the front, or step to the front. And then come to the front of your mat. Stand tall, open the arms wide, take a deep breath in, hands meet, and return. You're doing well. It's very warm. Left side. Keep going into those extended child poses if you need. Take a deep breath in, stretch and reach overhead, being the tallest, longest you can be. And then breathe out, meet in a forward fold. Again, softening in the knees. Taking out any force, any effort. And then a halfway lift, fingertips into the floor or into the shins. Feel a length right into the neck. Into that lizard lunge. So this time the left leg stepping far back, lowering the knee and coming into that deeper lunge. Big stretch to the front of this left leg. And we can drape ourselves. We can see this is a yin little breather in halfway through your sun salutations. Finding softness. Remember to back off if it's too much. Flat hands or fists. Resting if you can find that thigh, otherwise staying upright, but maybe closing the eyes so that you can go inside the body and find some softening, deepening. We're nearly ready for half splits. So when you're ready, we're going to place the hands back and lift the front toes. So even coming into an upright position, we're going to challenge our balance. Let's find where is a comfortable stretch for the back of this right leg. Maybe we start to hinge. Maybe the fingertips find the floor. Blocks, remember the wall if you have one near, just to steady yourself, because it's all about finding length in the back of the leg. Not creating length, but just breathing some space into the back of the leg. Think how this is so closely tied to the spine, and where we maybe can develop tension in the spine. So finding length and softening. Focusing on the breath and where you will need to nurture a little bit more. Do we need a bit more of a bend in the knee? Maybe give a squeeze. Self-massage is so helpful in our yoga practice. We're going to get ready to shortly step back to a plank. So hands down, step your foot back and find some length, if not from the balls of the feet, then from the knees up to the crown of the head. See if we can turn the eyes of the elbows to point forwards. If we need to, we can turn the fingers out slightly. So we're externally rotating the shoulders. As we bend the elbows, we keep these train track lines of the forearms and come down to the belly. Saying this is our last time, it's a baby cobra. Squeeze the legs together, maybe point the toes so much and press the pubic bone into the floor so strongly that the legs float off the floor. Keep the strength between the legs and then tuck the toes and take an extended child pose or a down dog. So it's particularly if you get any niggles in your wrists, the extended child pose is probably the better route, so you can ease out the wrists. Another alternative is a forearm dog, as if you're taking a dolphin, just to take some strain off the wrists. Wherever you are, child pose or down dog, we're going to step the left foot to the front. So when you're ready, left foot forwards. Pause to briefly straighten the back leg, and then we'll come to the front of the mat. Step forwards. This time, hold the backs of the knees. So wrapping the forearms around the backs of the knees, bowing the head. And we can deeply bend the knees so the chest and the thighs come together. And then we can straighten the legs and bow the crown of the head to the earth. Couple more times, bending. Feel that squeeze into the forearms as we press the thighs down, and then that guided, supported stretch of the backs of the legs. So you have the forearms around the backs of the knees. Last time, and then we complete the sun salutations. Roll up through the spine, lift the arms, yawn if you need to, take a big stretch. Breathe in and reach, be the tallest you can be. And then breathe out, lower the hands, release the hands by your side. Close the eyes and take a micro rock forwards and backwards. So we're kind of reconnecting with the earth through our mountain pose. And that sense of grounding, helping us to steady the breath. One more breath here. And then you're very pleased to hear we're coming down to the mat. So, let's first of all find our way down to the floor. Swivel this round again. We're coming to sit on our bottoms, knees out in front. Okay, so from a seated position, we're going to cross the right shin down to the floor. I'm going to try and cradle this left leg. So maybe we'll hold the foot and hold it outside of the knee, and we're taking this gentle swiveling movement. So supporting the knee, supporting the ankle. If you're a little bit more flexible and get more lift in the ankle, we may place the ankle on the forearm. So just wherever you've got a secure hold, then let's try and sit up tall. So maybe moving the flesh away from the sit bones just gives us a little bit more grounding, feel a little bit more secure. And then the weight of the leg, feel that pull in to give you the strength to draw the chest forwards, shoulders back, and top of the head to the ceiling. So again, let's find that stacking through the body. So we're trying to roll forwards on the pelvis, keeping the ribs stacked over the pelvis, and then the head over the ribs. We're taking a gentle swiveling, breathing deeply in and out of the nose. Any pull on the patella tendon, reduce the lift in the knee, so we keep a nicer alignment, ankle, knee, hip, and give a bigger support to the knee. So we're just all about loosening up the hip here, ready for half Lord of the Fishes. So lengthen through the spine. Have another swivel, and I'll just go forwards into the next. The right leg will extend. The left foot will go on the outside of the knee, and we take that twist. So when you're ready, left foot on the outside of the right knee, sitting up tall. Try to get this foot flat to the floor, knee up to the ceiling, and even starting here, lengthening up through the spine. Let's be active through that straight leg. Now, left fingers to the floor behind you, just to facilitate that twist, so the chest turns to face the left wall. We can either work on pressing the sit bones into the floor, crown of the head to the ceiling, or we can add on. This front elbow can come on the outside of the knee to give you a deeper twist. So wherever you are, let's see where's in contact with the floor. Can you press down into the floor? So that's through the straight leg, the flat foot. We're squeezing into the glutes so the knee's pointing up to the ceiling. We're using our upper body strength to add on a twist without wringing and shrinking the spine. Think about pressing down to lengthen. So that idea of rooting down to rise up. One more breath here. And then we'll slowly release. Take the legs out in front of you and give them a little shake. That rolling from one bottom cheek to the other. You can kick back and relax a little bit here. So we spend so much time thinking about long neck, shoulders back and down. We need both. We need to be able to relax, also to keep nice, youthful, supple muscles. So we're ready to cradle the other leg. So this time the left knee will bend, come flat to the floor. And let's find where we are with this hip. So it may be a little bit different. So definitely start small and low in the movement and the lift in the knee. Just a swiveling. So you're trying to take as much of the weight of the leg in the hands, arms as you can, so that we can try and find some softening in the hip. We're also limbering up to put the foot on the outside of that knee. So this is where the swiveling action comes in. We'll find where we have a strong hold on the leg, so then we can lift up through the spine, puff the chest forward, shoulders back, chin tucked. Breathing deeply. So feel where the sit bones are pressing down. See if we can get the knee down. So we press down to rise up through the spine. Hugging the knee and the shin towards the chest as much as you can without rounding the back. Just feeling a gentle stretch in the hip. Working hard on those postural muscles to sit as tall as you can. And then let's extend the left leg and gently place the right foot on the outside of the knee. Let's reconnect through the sit bones. Think about this front knee coming to the opposite shoulder, hugging in, foot flat, straight leg strong through the floor. We can hug the thigh and turn the chest and look over our shoulder. So we're getting that twist through the spine, right up into the cervical spine. Now think about pressing down in order to lengthen up. So even though we're turning around, we're not sticking the chin out, the chin's on towards the neck. Think about looking down your nose. Sometimes that feeling, that sense of looking down your nose can give you a better line in the neck. The elbow can come on the outside of the knee to give you a deeper twist. Feel that work right around your waist. Another breath here. And then gently come out. You come onto your forearms so you can rest the wrists and have a shake out, hips, knees, ankles, toes. Have a good shake out. Last one, we're going to take a quick Navasana boat, and then we come full circle back to Shavasana. You're doing really well. We can make the boat a little bit supported. So we can hold the backs of the knees, rolling the shoulders back and down, sitting up really tall, long through the spine, and we can dip back and float the feet off. Now, ribs come together, navel to spine, chin into the neck. So think about the crown, not the top of the head, the crown of the head. Bring length and back. Chest forward, shoulders back. If you can, maybe we extend the legs. There's no need to. Even the tips of the toes can come to the floor. So let's just breathe, find your position. If you want, the arms can come parallel to the floor. I'm shaking if that's any consolation. So shoulders back, chest forward, long spine, long neck, breathing deeply. Now think about when we took those breaths of fire, the navel back to the spine. Feel those muscles that have been prepared. The brain's already thinking about that connection and connecting, recruiting those muscles. Use them now. Pull up the pelvic floor for the last 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. If your legs are lifted, lower the feet and take a slow, gentle roll down. Arms overhead. Take a full body stretch, clasping the opposite wrist. Take a deep breath so that here your ribs can flare. You can arch the spine, rocking the head side to side. Take a big capital T stretch, shoulders back and down, bending the knees. We'll take one bridge into a twist. Imprint the lower spine. See if you can keep the knees and ankles the same distance as we roll up through the spine. Feel the chest rising up to the neck, lengthening the back of the neck. And then rolling down through the spine, slow control. Place the right ankle on the left thigh for a figure 4. Use your right hand into the top of that right thigh to help guide it open. From here, we can gently rock side to side, maybe tipping all the way over till the right foot comes flat to the floor. You can use your left hand to hold the ankle and extend the right arm. We'll pause here for a breath. Make any adjustments that make it a bit more comfortable. We do want to stretch that right hip and find release, softening after all those postures. Strengthening the hip. Now giving the hip time to release and soften, relax. At the end of the next exhalation, slowly come center with the legs. We switch over, left ankle to right thigh. Use the left hand to help externally rotate the thigh. A little bit of a rock, side to side, maybe optional only rocking all the way over, so we're tipping all the way over till the foot comes flat to the floor, and then pausing. Spinal stretch, hip release, glute release. Just breathing into those external rotators with that lifted thigh. This is the very last bit of work, so you can breathe gently, softly. At the end of the next exhalation, come center, and we've come full circle back to Shavasana. So this time, maybe a bit bolder, legs a little bit wider apart, arms further from the body, palms facing upwards. Close the eyes and go back to trying to find heaviness through the body. We're softening the jaw. Try thinking a smile, see what happens to the muscles of your face. Teeth slightly parted, the jaw soft. And feel as though there's a wonderfully comforting, heavy, heavy duvet just placed on top of you. You can't resist it, you just have to release, give into it, let go, and find heaviness through the body. You can keep your eyes closed, you can stay in Shavasana for as long as you like. And it's only when you're ready we'll draw the ankles together, knees in towards the chest for a rock on the spine to come up. But as I say, do stay on in Shavasana if you feel you'd like to. Otherwise, thank you for practicing with me.